Welcome to TriMet 101. Today we are not talking about TriMet and instead we'll be talking about SMART. Well, I guess you could say SMART in Wilsonville was designed pretty smartly. They provide the bus service in Wilsonville and some regional connections to other nearby areas. This book is kind of old and outdated, but it is smart. Most routes service the Wilsonville Transit Center, which used to be called Smart Central. Kind of glad that name changed. But there is an interesting future ahead for SMART that I'd like to talk about. Some of these are my ideas, and then I discovered something partway through. This video has evolved from me just talking about SMART to the future of SMART. So this video might seem like it's a little all over the place, but hopefully it makes sense. Firstly, if you're not familiar with the SMART bus services and where they go and their schedules and all that, I'm going to be explaining that in this video, but if you already know all of that, you can skip to here. And then I'll explain more later. The 1X is a little confusing as it's the only route that you'll end up paying for. And it's provided by two different companies, SMART and Chariots. They both operate the service. So yeah, it's a little weird. But the general idea is the same. The buses go between the Wilsonville Transit Center and downtown Salem at the Downtown Transit Center. It's also got a couple of stops within downtown Salem near the Capitol building and that sort of area. So it's designed to get workers into Salem or out of Salem during commuting times. This service I have tried out myself, and I have a video on this channel that shows it. I'll provide a card for it if you want to watch the trip to Salem. This is by far the simplest way to get to our state's capital, so it just makes sense to use it. Again, the service is provided both by SMART and Chariots, and it runs all day on weekdays. It doesn't run on weekends, unfortunately, but it does run on weekdays. And Chariots provides a few extra trips during the rush hour, so in general, during the rush hour, buses are fairly frequent, about every 20 minutes. Off-peak is not very good, but that's something I'll talk about shortly. Route 2X provides service between Tualatin Park and Ride and Wilsonville. It provides service to business parks in both cities, Tualatin and Wilsonville, as well as service to Wilsonville City Hall and the community center. So it's a pretty important route, and it runs Monday through Saturday. It runs every hour off-peak, which isn't bad, and every 30 minutes during the rush hour, which this is Wilsonville we're talking about, so not bad. Route 3X travels from Wilsonville to Canby, and this service is provided on weekdays only, every hour during the rush hour and every 90 minutes off-peak. Not great, but I am glad that this connection is available. Route 4 provides the most important local service within Wilsonville, on Wilsonville Road, and connects plenty of destinations together. Multiple schools, Graham Oaks Nature Park, the City Hall, and the Community Center, all on this one route. And during the rush hour, trips also will detour to serve the Wilsonville Transit Center. Service on this route runs Monday through Saturdays, and during the weekday rush hour, it runs every 30 minutes, and off-peak it runs every hour. Now, oddly, much of Saturday also has service every 30 minutes, which is very nice to see. The 5 provides service to additional business parks in Wilsonville and ends at Commerce Circle, where you can connect with TriMet's Line 96. Service is provided during weekday rush hour only and sort of connects with West Train times, so that's why. Route 6 is a sort of alternate Route 2. It doesn't go to Tualatin Park and Ride, but it does serve businesses in the Wilsonville and outer Tualatin area, ending at Argyle Square. This bus also runs during weekday rush hours, and it operates hourly. Not great, but many destinations, like I said, can be reached from Route 2. There are also 2 shuttles that are lettered. There's the M, medical shuttle, which connects from Wilsonville to Meridian Park Hospital, same place as TriMet's Line 76, but this route has been suspended due to the operator shortage and issues over the last couple years relating to it. And the Villebois shuttle connects Wilsonville to some of the nearby shopping areas, and this route is still operating. It runs middays, Monday through Saturday. It runs hourly on weekdays and every 2 hours on weekends, so you get plenty of time to shop. Okay, if you skipped here, welcome back. I'm not fully done explaining everything, but I wanted you here for this. I'm not going to get too detailed with this. If you want more detailed vehicles, then you can look at the Pantograph app, or you can look at CPTDB. If I remember, I'll link it in the description where it shows the fleet, if you want detailed vehicle by vehicle what they look like. But I'm here to talk about generally what routes use what kind of buses. Route 1X uses 40-foot Gillig buses, Gillig commuter buses with nice comfortable seats. And I have a video on this. Again, I linked it earlier. It's up in the cards if you want to go and hunt for it. So they're really quite nice. They're comfortable, and the 1X uses these buses, both Chariots and Smart. The 4 uses a mix of small minibuses, 35-foot Gillig low floors, and 35-foot Proterra electric buses. How have I not filmed those yet? Well, anyway, yes, those exist. All other routes, for the most part, just use the standard minibuses. It's Wilsonville. They can get away with using small buses for the local routes. However, I'd like to show you something really interesting. Sometimes, if you're really lucky, you might see a vehicle that you may not have even known existed. It looks like this. This is number 2600, which is a 30-foot Gillig Phantom from 2000. And sometimes it occasionally makes its rounds on Route 4 on Wilsonville Road, which is what it was during this video. Pretty cool to see. So what would I do to enhance Wilsonville's transit? Well, they already have an excellent network, as I said earlier, and there are actual plans to move and expand service a lot, which I will talk about later, but I'm first going to start off with what I would do to the service. I already think it's excellent, and I like that it's 100% free. All of the local services are completely free. Only the 1X you pay for. That's something smaller cities can more easily get away with, so Smart provides service for free, and I assume they're going to continue to do that for a while. First issue, service hours. Now, Smart provides service during the hours at which most people would use the bus. I am not about to propose saying, oh, we need some 24-hour service. That's not what I'm proposing here. But what I think definitely needs to happen is to fix what we have currently, because there are 24 hours every single week with no Smart service. Sundays. Smart does not run any service on Sundays, which is a shame. Even pre-pandemic, Smart never ran on Sundays. So definitely I think it's time that we should fix that. If routes 2 and 4 ran 7 days a week, I think that would be a huge benefit. I also think adding more trips to the Villebois shuttle on Saturdays would make it so people would probably be more likely to use it. I don't know what the ridership numbers are for that, and maybe people do use it more than I was expecting. And so in that case, you probably should add more trips. And if Smart ran the 1X on at least Saturdays, I think that would also hugely benefit everybody. Saturdays and Sundays are the days that most people have off. So it'd be nice to be able to travel to go run your errands or whatever on your weekends. But you can't on Sundays because Smart doesn't operate on Sundays. And speaking of the 1X, I think its weekday schedule needs to be improved. Right now, it's sort of fixed frequency, but not really, and it doesn't really connect with the West train. Like, it doesn't feel as though there's much consideration with it actually connecting to the West. I think in the morning, a West train would show up, and then just a few minutes later, the 1X bus should leave to go to Salem. And then in the evening, that process would be reversed. A 1X bus would show up at Wilsonville, and then a few minutes later, a West train would leave to go to Beaverton. I still hold out hope that the West train will eventually resume running every 30 minutes like it used to. But in the meantime, I think having connections being made every 45 minutes at the West Station and at the transit center where you catch the 1X bus, it's a very convenient transfer, and yet the schedule just doesn't really reflect that at all. Quite a long time ago, I was psycho enough to actually handwrite the schedule that I would change it to have it better connect with the West trains. I would go and retype it on my computer, but number one, that sounds like a lot of work, and number two, I don't think I'm going to need to have to do that because I'm going to talk about SMART's actual plans forward, and my original plan was to pretty much have buses every hour and a half off-peak, and then every 20 to 25 minutes during the peak hours, and they would connect with the West trains. So the West trains operate every 45 minutes, and so there would be a bus that would depart there, and then there would be another one, maybe 20 or so minutes later, and then the next bus would also connect with the West train, and it would alternate with Chariots and SMART providing the service. However, SMART has different ideas to that are actually a lot better, so I'm going to talk about that later in this video. I know I keep saying that, but we will get to it. You want to know something annoying and is actually proof that the transfers to the 1X are not at all timed with the West trains, or at least not very well? Well, you take the last West train of the morning, you have to wait 85 minutes before you can even get on the 1X to go to Salem. It's not fun, because I have done it before, and it is incredibly boring. So why couldn't there just be a 1X that leaves 5 minutes after the last West train shows up? I don't know. By the way, there's the proof. The last West train shows up at 9:35. Bus doesn't leave till 11. This schedule's old. I think it actually leaves at like 11:02 or 11:03 now, because some people connect with a 2X bus that shows up at exactly 11. So they give you a few minutes. But yeah, in general, it's a friggin' long wait. Now on to Route 2. Well, I completely understand Route 2 and, well, really Route 2X and the point of it, connecting people to their destinations and all that sort of thing. That's great. But there's an additional service I would like to see operate. My idea would be to split it up into two routes, Route 2 and Route 2X. If my goal is to get to Wilsonville Transit Center, and I'm sitting up here at Tualatin Park and Ride, I shouldn't have to ride through all of the business parks just to get to Wilsonville Transit Center. I should be able to stay on I-5 the whole way there. Route 2 would continue to exist and provide the service, and then the 2X would be a separate service that just stays on I-5. I was also hoping that I could maybe take Route 2X and have it detour to serve Wilsonville City Hall and the community center, but that involves a lot of backtracking, so I say it just goes right to the Wilsonville Transit Center, and then there should be some sort of convenient transfer to a regular Route 2 bus that would be able to go back the other way to serve the City Hall or the community center. So Route 2 could and should run all day, 7 days a week, and then Route 2X could provide service during the off-peak hours, because, the West train isn't running, so there isn't a fast connection between Tualatin and Wilsonville. So the 2X would just kind of run off-peak. And I understand that sounds like a lot, having to increase the 1X schedule to be better, adding Saturday service to the 1X, adding a new branch of Route 2 that's just express. That sounds like a lot, and it doesn't sound easy. but there's a reason why I think that it's all entirely possible, and that's because of the master plan that, again, I promise I will talk about shortly. Here's another change. I think Route 4 on Wilsonville Road should run 35-foot buses always. Yeah, I know it's a minor change. The route wouldn't really need to change much. 35-foot buses should be the norm for Route 4. It should be extremely rare to ever find a minibus on there, even on Saturdays. So that's something I'd like to see. It's definitely the most important route that happens entirely within the city of Wilsonville. After looking at the schedule for Route V, I am very confused. The Saturday bus runs every 2 hours and goes to specific shopping areas, but then when it gets to its layover, it sits there for an hour. If buses laid over at the Town Center Shopping Center, yes, that is seriously its name, for 20 minutes on Saturdays, but then at the Rain Garden Apartments had a 0-minute layover, then it means you could actually run buses hourly on Saturdays. I'm not really sure why anyone would want to rely on a bus that comes every 2 hours on Saturdays, you know, the busiest shopping day. I have an idea for a new route as well, and this would be another regional / express route, and that would be the 8X. There used to be a Route 7, which I forgot to mention earlier. It was very similar to Route V, but it served Wilsonville Transit Center, and that's been suspended for now. So that's why I've numbered this as the 8X, Woodburn. And pretty much as you would think, this route goes between the Wilsonville Transit Center and the Woodburn Memorial Transit Center. Fun fact, Woodburn has 2 transit centers on opposite ends of town, the Woodburn Memorial Transit Center and the Woodburn Downtown Transit Center. I imagine this bus would run weekdays only, but it would be nice to see some Saturday service as well. And now for the moment that you've all been waiting for. I am now going to talk about Wilsonville's Transit Master Plan. This is fairly recent, being adopted in July of 2023 by Wilsonville City Council. I'll link it in the description, and I think you should definitely go and check it out. But what I'm most interested in discussing here are the fixed route services. SMART plans on rebranding their routes to letters instead of numbers, but it sort of follows what we see today, with in the order of the routes and the colors of the routes. So Route A will now be the one that goes to Salem, and I think it entirely replaces the Chariot service, which should make this a little bit easier. So it'll now just be provided by one company, SMART. Route B goes to Tualatin and extends to the Tigard Transit Center, which is very cool. Route C goes to Canby, conceptually quite clever, I can conclude. Route D goes on Wilsonville Road and has a little extension. It extends as a regional connection to Oregon City and Clackamas Town Center. I wish I was making that up. Route E will entirely replace Chariot's 80X between Wilsonville and Kaiser with a stop at Woodburn Memorial Transit Center, which actually entirely takes over my idea of the 8X. So that route wouldn't be necessary and would instead just be this. Route F replaces the old Route 7 sort of in the Villebois area, which I don't have any books that mention, so you get this instead. And Route G sort of replaces Route 5 and serves additional things in the Villebois area, going to the Commerce Circle, where you can transfer to TriMet's bus service. Oddly, there are now going to almost be 2 transit centers. Only one of them is actually called a transit center, but they're both labeled as WTC, and Wilsonville Transit Center will get 4 bus services, plus the West train, and the Wilsonville Town Center will get more connections. It will get 6. They actually get fairly detailed in this particular planning document about other things as well, like service hours, talking about adding Sunday service, and a bunch of exciting things that I've already talked about. It is a quite ambitious plan, which is why I think all the ideas I've talked about here seems like it'll work out just fine. However, their plan for Route 1X is even better than what I was thinking that they were going to do. SMART wants to add hourly bus service to Salem, Wilsonville to Salem, every hour. And not just on weekdays. They want to add Saturday service too. And also Sunday service. Hourly service all 7 days a week to Salem. Now that is what I'm talking about. That is good. So when do you think we would have to wait to see all of these go into effect? 2093? Yeah, no. This transit master plan is centered around the year 2028. Really not that far. So it's pretty exciting that this is pretty much around the corner, around a corner that we're maybe slowly starting to take. But this video is getting way, way, way too long. I've left the link to everything that you can read in the description with the Transit Master Plan itself, if you want to check that out and continue reading and seeing what other things they have to say. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time for something else.